introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi Greenfield. I'll be moderating your questions today and look forward to answering them.
Okay, and Dan, take it away.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Dan Jablons. Most of you know me on this call. My company is Retail Smart Guys. We've been around for 18 years as of this recording. And our main function is to provide open-to-buy planning and merchandise planning, as well as other levels of consulting to independent retailers. And we work with retailers in 18 countries. Um, and Lonnie and I have known each other for a great number of years, and I'm excited about this application Cash Planet because I feel like, you know, we have forever been trying to wrestle with how do we put together a good cash flow plan for independent retailers. And we've fought our way through a million Excel spreadsheets to try to make that work. And, you know, it just doesn't seem to happen the right way. And then Lonnie developed this application, and I was super excited to hear about it and excited to share it with all you guys. And so we're thrilled to offer this, and let's see where this goes.
Thanks, Dan, and thanks so much for allowing us to share our new application with your clients. I'm Lonnie Tucker, longtime retailer and founder of SG Retail Solutions. My background is in corporate retail, both in running store operations and in the corporate buying office. I've worked for three major retailers in store management with Sakowitz and Orvis, and spent almost 2 decades at Neiman Marcus, briefly in the stores, with the majority of my time there in the buying offices. I started my consulting practice in 2013 part time and then took that full time in 2020. And I have loved every minute of working and helping independent retailers. And at the same time, I have learned so much in the process. All that said, we're here today to discuss how taking an all encompassing approach to your planning can improve your financial success long term. But let me mention before we get started, we will be answering any questions at the end of the webinar, so please click the Q&A button to type any questions you might have, and we'll address them then. So let's jump in and talk about what we're going to be addressing today. First, we're going to be talking about how adding a cash flow plan can improve your merchandise plan. Also, why is this the perfect tool for both you and your consultant? We're going to take a high level look at the app itself, discuss the pricing, and then Dan has a special offer for those attending this webinar today. So, Dan, as you mentioned, you have clients in 18 countries. There's no telling how many merchandise financial plans you have delivered. So, tell us why you feel so strongly every retailer should have a merchandise financial plan. What are the benefits?
Lots of people enter into the world of retail because they're excited about the products that they're selling or the industry they want to be in. And it's very easy to get excited and buy a whole bunch of merchandise and just fill the store. And, oh, I know my customer would love that, or I know they would buy that, that kind of thing. And then they find themselves going, I'm not paying myself, or I'm not paying myself as much as I want to, or there's things I want to do with the business that I can't get done because I don't have the finances to do it, right? And a big part of that certainly is the merchandise plan in terms of getting them to turn the inventory fast enough so that there's enough cash to do the other things that you want to do. But at the same time, find that a lot of times some of the expenses are kind of spinning out of control, or we don't really understand the impact of those expenses. And certainly the expense structure of the business needs to inform the merchandise plan so that if I know that my expenses are going to be X $100,000 a year, am I creating a merchandise plan that not only covers those expenses but gives me the level of profit I want, or it gives me additional cash if there's things I want to do? I want to redecorate the store, I want to hire another salesperson, I want to engage with a marketing company, I want to open another store, any of those things, without having to go out and borrow more money. And so, the impact of each of the individual expenses upon the merchandise plan is critical to really effectively run the business. And nowadays, with tariffs bouncing all over the place and people not sure where that's going to go, and I can tell you that in just the last 2 weeks, I have had some of the craziest phone calls I've had in my career that people are just trying to figure out what are we doing about all this. So there's a lot of that kind of, yikes, what are we doing here? Having a really good understanding of both your merchandise plan and how much cash that throws off, and then what are your expenses and how are those going to hit and when are those going to hit, so you can plan for all those things, I think is critical for success in business today.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And at the same time, having delivered a lot of very accurate merchandise plans, right? What we see all too often as consultants is that the store owners are consistently having issues with cash flow. It makes their lives horrible. It's hard to run the store. It's hard to make their payments. And ultimately, it keeps them from being able to execute the merchandise plan, right? They can't buy what we're telling them to buy.
Yeah.
So that's where Cash Planet came into being, because I was experiencing this with a lot of retailers and started using my old 12-month forward-looking forecast Excel sheet and copying and pasting every month and pulling my hair out and thinking there's got to be a better way. Well, I did some research and I didn't find it, and that's how Cash Planet came to be. Simply put, a lot of what Dan said, when your expert understands your financial capacity, number one, if they see, they can coach you if they see opportunities or if they have concerns, right, in different areas of your business. But when they see your financial capacity, they can fine tune and pinpoint the right turn. And then when they pinpoint that right turn, right, your open to buy is an open to buy that you can afford. And then over time, what that does is you build more cash on hand, you build resilience, and you get to the point where you have the cash on hand you need when you need it, which is the whole goal. So, what makes this a great plan for yourself and for your consultant? Well, the core of everything, we're consultants, right, Dan? I mean, that's what we do. And when building an app, it was only natural to think about preserving and enhancing the store owner consultant relationship. And so that's the approach we took. And we made it easy for you. What you see on the right side of the page here is the sign up form. And at the very bottom, you can invite your free admin. That gives the person that you assign as your administrator the capacity to make adjustments in there, just to view it, or to take care of the assessment for you, whatever arrangement you two have. From a consultant basis, if you have multiple clients, when you log in, you're going to get a drop down that's going to show you all your different stores, and you can pick the store you want to look at and go directly to them. So we've designed this so that both store owners and consultants can work together hand in hand, if that makes sense. So we're going to take a look at the app. We're going to do a high level here, and any of you that want to see a one-on-one demo and get more specific, just we're going to give you the email at the end of the webinar, and we are happy to schedule a one-on-one demo with you. So we're going to go over the navigation, data entry, one of our favorite things and one of our clients' favorite things, what if scenario, and the dashboard, which is your assessment. Before we pop over though, I want to tell you, you need 3 things to perform this assessment. You need your P&L and balance statement, and you need your merchandise plan. And that's all you need to do this. So let's pop over and let's look at the app. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the dashboard.
Dan, can you read that?
The bottom number is a little bit small, but I think they'll get the idea of what we're looking at here. I think it's okay.
The first time you come into the application, your dashboard will be empty, but you are just a few steps away from having your assessment. All you have to do is go to the income tab and enter your starting cash on hand and your forecasted income. Go to the expenses and add your expenses, and then your assessment will be ready. You'll notice that the navigation is all on the left-hand side of the app. You've got your income tab, your expense tab, your overview tab, your what if tab, and at the bottom, you've got under settings, you've got your account information, you've got the light or dark setting, and you've got the email to contact us if you need help.
So now we're going to go through the actual use of the app. So remember, the first time you come in, this will all be empty. And so you go to your income tab first. From your balance sheet, you get your starting cash on hand and you enter it here. Right here, I'm just going to type over it so you can see how it works. And then from your merchandise plan, you enter your sales forecast for the next 12 months. Now, it's important that you agree with that forecast and that it's achievable, because you want the numbers that are in your cash flow forecast to be sales figures you know you can hit. So you enter your sales forecast, and then any other income you have from rewards programs or owner contributions, whatever that might be, you submit it, and then you move on to your expenses. Now, in the expense tab, you are going to get your cost purchases from your merchandise plan, right? However, I will note one thing here. If you have terms, which many of you do, you're going to push that receipt back to the month that you're going to pay for it. So if you front load a lot of merchandise for seasonal merchandise, like it's going to come in July, but you're not going to pay for it until November or December, you're going to put that receipt over under December so that you can actually see when your expenses are going to hit you, right? Other than that, you use your P&L to spread your line item expenses across.
Adding the expenses does take the most time, but you only need to do it once. At the end of each month, you'll simply update your income and expenses, then roll over to the new month on the income tab. This automatically carries forward your existing data and transfers the current month to the same month next year, creating a starting point for that month's forecast.
We have made several different tools to make it easy for you. Number one, you can add your own line item, create your own category if you want. You can also spread if you have like your mortgage or your rent and it's an equal amount every month, you can spread it across by hitting the copy. Likewise, if you want to get rid of something, you can also exit out and it will go away. So those are tools. And then if you want to, you can move these rows up and down so that they match your P&L and put it all in the order that you want to see it. So once you've entered all your expenses, you hit the submit key and you go back to the dashboard. There was one thing I wanted to show you though. Let me go back over here. After you've entered your expenses, you're going to see on the right side your total expenses and the percent of income that they are. And you have retail benchmarks out here to the right on your key expenses. So you can see how your expenses compare to industry benchmarks. Now that you've entered both your income, your starting cash on hand, your income, and your expenses, you can go to the dashboard, and this is where your assessment comes in. And this is what really guides you. This retailer is in good shape, and you can see from the bump in cash that this is a seasonal retailer, that they get a lot of cash coming in after the November, December time period because their sales are so big in those months. But up at the top, you have widgets that tell you, your donut chart tells you each expense category and what percent of total expenses it is. You get at a glance your starting cash on hand, your ending cash on hand, and over at the right, you have your ending profit. Then these other widgets show you your average expense by category. On average, this customer spends $37,000 on employee expenses. Their average operating expense is $32,899, and their average product cost is about $63,000 a month. What's more important for you, though, and The area of the dashboard that I like the most is down here at the bottom. So when you're down here at the bottom, you can see your starting cash on hand, your forecasted income for the month, and then your expenses by category for the month. And at the bottom, your total amount paid out. So retailers always want to be looking at where am I starting my cash on hand and how much are my expenses going to be this month? And this makes it easy for you to see that. For instance, when we look at this retailer, they're starting November with 194,000 and their expenses are going to be 192,000. So that's very, very close. Of course, they have the 232,000 coming, but often what we'll find is that some retailers will not have the amount on hand that they're going to have to pay in expenses when the month starts. And we want to build you to be into a position where you've got at least 2 months or 3 months cash on hand at any time. Anyway, that's a brief overview. From the dashboard, this gives you the highlights. The overview page gives you everything all in one place. So in one place, you can see your income and all your expenses and your expenses as a percent of income. And at the bottom, you can see your total expenses and your profitability. In this case, they're making 72,000 and that's a 4% profitability. One of my favorite things and one of my retailers' favorite things is what if. So let's say that Dan mentioned several scenarios. You want to invest in this, you want to do that, you want to refresh the store. Where are you going to get the money and how are you going to do it? You can create a what if and as many what ifs as you want. I've already done one based on this information that was to increase the marketing. So this retailer was contacted by their marketing agency and said, we can deliver 5 times the invest if you can give us $1,000 more a month.
So when doing the what if, I want to determine 2 things. I want to add the increase to the marketing, and then I want to figure out how I'm going to offset that expense by reducing other expenses or adding to the sales line. In this case, I added 17,000 to the marketing. That made marketing 4% of income, and it had been 3% of income. I then chose to take 12,000 out of the owner withdrawal in January and add about 5,000 to November and December sales. That was a direct offset. You could also choose to take a profit hit or put the full offset as an increase to sales that the marketing team believes you're going to hit. But you can see how what ifs give you the tool to look at various options and determine which strategy to take. The beauty of this is that you can keep this as a what if, or you can take the information and load it into your expense tab and your income tab. We recommend, and our users and our testers have most liked the approach of keeping your base case and your what ifs separate. In fact, we even recommend that you have upside and downside what ifs in addition to any what ifs that you have to make decisions with. What do you think, Dan? Do you think it's best to keep your what ifs separate?
Yeah, no, I think as you start to sort of, because one thing that happens in a lot of expense planning is we're playing with different models and different ways things can go and stuff like that, but you don't want to sort of cast that in cement and then be stuck with that. So it's better to keep that thing moving around that way.
That makes sense. Let's move on to pricing.
So we have 2 subscriptions. They both have a 5-day free trial. The basic subscription is $80 a month and the pro subscription is $89. The pro subscription integrates with Shopify. And that's the difference between the two. And then if this is too much for you, but you want to hire an expert and have it all done for you, we can handle that. And the charge is a one-time charge of $469. And that said, most of our clients that take that option do it quarterly. So they're doing that once a quarter, and we find that's often enough.
If you're not a numbers person, and if the idea of like really having to go through the exercise of figuring out your expenses yourself is painful, the expert one is a great choice, because at that point in time, you've got someone who's actually looking at your expenses, who knows how to do this stuff, and also has worked in Cash Planet and worked with expense planning for a while, and gives you a really good cash flow plan and an expense plan, so that you actually can manage your business and be focused on things that you love, the merchandise, the customers, the sales, that kind of stuff. And then quarterly, take a deep dive into this to make sure that you're headed in the right direction.
Absolutely.
When our experts perform a cash flow for you, you do have access to the Cash Planet app for 90 days. You can go in there, do whatever what ifs you want to, as well as reach out to us if you have any questions.
Okay, so now Dan has a special offer for Retail Smart Guys clients, and he's going to talk to you about that.
Okay, so as a Retail Smart Guys client, one of the things that Lonnie and I have worked out, which is nice, is that you can see that basically from now until the 24th, we're offering this free 30-day trial, right? And then after that, Lonnie showed you the pricing before that, and you get a 10% discount off the subscription rates, including the expert one I just talked about. So, if you're thinking this might work and that kind of stuff, we're all trying to sort of sweeten the deal a little bit and give you a little bit of a discount on there. But if you're struggling with like, where's the money going and why is it not going the right way and why am I not profitable, or why do I not have cash? I mean, a lot of times I hear from people that well, my accountant says I'm making money, but I just don't know where or where that profit is. This, in concert with planning, obviously, um, and really enables you to look out ahead and go, if I sell the way the plan says I'm going to sell, and if I right, this is what should happen, and you really have a way to figure out, what that's going to look like, and will you make that money? And at the same time, you can also then go like, if it didn't happen, why? What did I miss in that, so that I can make sure that going forward, I don't make that mistake again, and I'm not the hamster on the wheel just running every single day without actually producing some money at the end of it to say, well, it was worth it for me to do all this, right? So we're throwing in 10% because we think a lot of you guys really could use this, and I think will help you a lot. And so I think that just sweetens the deal a little bit more and makes it even more digestible. But to really understand, if you think about these subscription rates, right, to basic subscription, right, for $72 a month, to have the peace of mind to know that you're actually going to have cash flow and that your expenses are properly tracked and you can actually see where the business is going, it's really very little money at all compared to what the benefit of that is. So I really hope a lot of you guys take advantage of this. I think it's great. We're excited to work with Lonnie and her team on this, and we're excited to get you guys onto this platform, and let's make some money.
Being a cheerleader, Dan, and he's
Mhm.
absolutely right. There's nothing more knowing what cash you're going to have on hand 3 months from now, 6 months from now. There's nothing better than having a tough decision to make and being able to go in and put a what if in the system and figure out, if I do this, it's going to mean this. And if I do that, it's going to mean that. Anyway, we would love to get you started. One thing that Dan didn't mention is you want to use, if you do want to get this going, you'll go to my.cashplanet.com, and your sign up, there's an affiliate code line, and you're going to put RSGTEN, all capital letters, and that's how you're going to get your discounts. Okay, you have any questions?
Okay, there's one thing I want to mention before we wrap up, and that is that anytime you log in on your phone, You'll have your dashboard with you on mobile view, both for the overview and monthly. I want to thank you for joining us for this webinar today. If you're ready to improve your decision making, improve your merchandise planning, improve your cash flow consistency, and future proof your business, let's make this happen. Contact us today. You can reach us at support@cashplanet.com. We're happy to answer all of your questions one-on-one or schedule a demo. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.
Lonnie, I just want to throw in one last thing before we wrap up here, because it just occurred to me now, and I want to share this. I have a client I was working with earlier, and they were approached by a marketing company to do all kinds of marketing for them, right? That's the search engine optimization, maybe some email marketing, blah, blah, blah. And he called me up to say they want to charge me $1,500 a month. What do you think? Right? And we worked through some numbers and we did it sort of roughly. But if that retailer had been on this platform, we would have had the answer in seconds, right?
Absolutely. It takes
And
2 seconds.
so, as all of you guys get approached for different things or money you want to spend or expenses that you're going to run into, or what if this changes or what if that changes, and you want to understand the and the ramifications of all that and the implications of some of that kind of stuff, that's what this application does a great job of doing, is helping you to see that and, drive down the road without the mud on your windshield, right? To really understand what's going to happen as a result of all these things. So, I just wanted to sort of throw that in at the last possible second here. If you're on the fence with this thing, talk to Lonnie, talk to us at Retail Smart Guys, and let's talk it through and make sure it is a good fit for you. But I can't imagine it wouldn't be. And at this kind of discounted rates, to really understand what your cash flow is going to be and if you actually are going to be profitable or not, how do you run a business and not know? I think it's super important. So I'm a big fan. So there you go. So Lonnie, thank you for putting this together. The work you've done on this app is amazing, and I look forward to getting more and more people involved in it.
Thanks for sponsoring it, Dan. You guys have a
Of
great
course.
rest of your day.